Class, hello. I welcome you once again to this edition of e-learning. Today we are going to continue with our mathematics lesson. Last time we have learned a lot about fractions. We learned how to multiply fractions by a whole number. Today we shall continue with the same topic, but this time around it will be a multiplication of a fraction by a fraction. How do we do that? Multiplication of a fraction by a fraction. To multiply a fraction by a fraction, one must multiply the numerator of the first fraction by the numerator of the other fraction and do the same for the denominators. It means we multiply the numerators by numerators and denominators by denominators. Then we simplify your answer if needed. Always when you finish, write your answer in the simplest form. So let's quickly look at the first activity of the day to see whether we can apply the knowledge we achieved today. The question is, find the product of 5 out of 7 and 2 out of 3. Let's see how we can do this without wasting time. 5 out of 7 multiplied by 2/3. As the rule is as said, we shall multiply the numerators by the numerators and the denominators by the denominators. That's all. Is it not so simple? So let's look at how we can do that. The numerators are 5 and 2. So 5 times 2. 5 times 2. And the denominators are 7 and 3, making 7 times 3. So what do we get next? Here we can say that the top is giving us 10 and the bottom is giving us 21. Is it not so? As you can see, class, is 10 over 21 in the simplest form, or we can simplify them. You just ask yourself, is there any number that can go into 10 at the same time go into 21? There's no number. Therefore, our answer remains the same. Okay? So when you finish, you can conclude. Therefore, 5 out of 7 times 2 out of 3 is equal to 10 out of 21. Congrats. That is all about today's lesson. Is it not so simple? That's correct. So let's go. This is what we just did, and we've gotten 10 out of 21. Let's look at activity number 2. But before that, do you know that we can also multiply mixed fraction with another mixed fraction or any other fraction? So this is what we shall look at right now. Multiplication of mixed fractions by proper fractions, or it can also be mixed fraction also. Okay, mixed fraction by mixed fraction or mixed fraction by proper fraction. So let's see what we should do. To do this, convert the mixed fraction into an improper fraction. Number 2, multiply the numerator of the improper fraction by the numerator of the other fraction and do the same for the denominators. You see, so as far as when you finish converting into improper fraction, then you multiply the numerators by numerators and then the denominators by denominators. That's all. Write the resulting fraction as mixed fraction and in simplest form if needed. So if you think that one can be simplified, then you simplify. If not, conclude your work. Thank you. So now let's look at activity 2. That will help us understand this well. Multiply and write your answer in the simplest form. 2 whole number 1/3 times 2/5. So this time around we have a mixed fraction by a fraction or proper fraction. So let's see. 2 whole number 1/3 times 2/5. We have said that you first of all convert the mixed fraction into improper fraction. For that matter, we have learned how to do this. 2 times the denominator. Our denominator is 3. And then we multiply, we add all to the numerator, which is what? 1. Okay. So all over the 3, this one, the denominator. So multiply by 2 out of 3, 2 out of 5, sorry. So what do we get? 2 times 3 will give us 6 plus 1/3 times 2/5. Our fraction becomes 7/3 times 2/5. What do you do next? You said we should multiply the top, which are the numerators, and then multiply the denominators also. So at the end of the day, our fraction became 7/3 times 2/5, because 2 whole number 1/3 is the same as 7/3. So this one, the next thing to do is to multiply the numerator, which is 7 and 2. We multiply them, 7 times 2, and then we multiply the denominators also, which are 3 and 5. 3 times 5. So what do you do next? We write our answer. The top will give us 14 and the bottom will give us 15. Then you ask yourself again, is there any number that can divide, or the same number that can go into 14 at the same time 15? I think we are not having any number. For that matter, this is the simplest form. You can't simplify it again. So you conclude your work by saying 7/3. No, that was not the question. The question was 2 whole number 1/3 times 2/5 is 14/15. That's all. So simple, is it not so? That's good. So that will lead us to the end of today's lesson. Today, what have you learned? Today we have learned how to multiply fraction by a fraction. We first of all multiplied fraction, proper fraction by proper fraction, and later on we have learned how to multiply mixed fraction by another fraction. The same rule will go for mixed fraction by a mixed fraction. So do the assignments well, follow the rules, and you will get all correct. Stay safe. See you next time.